Welcome to Drinkin Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Welcome to Drinkin Bros, kids. I feel like we might become the last kind of real news that you listen to. That's the way I've felt over the last 6 months in particular. Leading up to this election, I feel like there's very few of us left who are like, hey, man, are we reading the same things? Because it doesn't feel like we're reading the same things that are being reported.
I don't know if that's true. I think there's a sign. My buddy, Patrick Donlin, by the way, from the 82nd Airborne. Great story, by the way. So he came into the Army as a cook.
Okay.
And halfway through a deployment, or actually the beginning of a deployment, they're like, hey, you're infantry. You're not a cook anymore. Come on, man. Like, you're obviously an infantryman. So he, like, left being a cook, became an infantryman, never went to infantry school. I think he went later or some shit, but got his CIB, his combat infantry badge, as a cook in Iraq.
Really?
So he's a fucking badass.
Wasn't Steven Seagal a cook in the military in one of those movies?
That's a movie? You're talking about Casey. Casey, what the fuck's his name? Ryback.
Yeah.
Right? From, yeah. No, he was a chef after being a Navy SEAL in the movie.
Oh, gotcha.
So this guy, Pat Donlin, went the other way. He was just telling me today, we were just talking about how there's so many of us out there that don't care about any of this superfluous bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's instinct is to, what do you mean you're gonna vote for Trump? What are you racist? Like, no, here's the reason why. I'm not even a huge fan, but if I have to choose between somebody I think is shitty and somebody I think is shitty and is trying to fucking backdoor socialism, obviously I'm not going to choose the socialism one.
Right.
That's why these fucking, everybody is like, oh my God, dude. The media is so out of touch. Maybe more than they've ever been out of touch before in the history of this country. Like, it's not become, like, even with Lawrence O'Donnell show, is one of the most liberal people in news media. His fucking producer quit and said, look, our entire narrative was driven by clicks and what we could do to fucking bring the fringe in, essentially. Like, how can we divide further? And people, look, if you're a good person working in media, at some point it gets to you. Like, I know a lot of people who work in politics and media who have for a short time suspended their fucking moral compass a little bit, if you want to call it that. Just because they're like, hey, look, this is probably the lesser two evils. I'm going to work hard. I'm passionate about making these changes. I want to get involved. And it's the same thing with politicians. They get involved for very good reasons very, very frequently, like Crenshaw and Kinzinger and a lot of our friends.
Yeah.
Tammy Duckworth on the left side and fucking Tulsi Gabbard on the left side. They love their fucking country, and they want to get in there and fucking make changes that they think benefit themselves. And everybody comes to the table with their own perspective. People like Kinzinger and Crenshaw come in like, hey, we got to take care of our fucking veterans. We got to take care of our police. People like Tulsi Gabbard and Tammy Duckworth like, hey, we got to take care of our native people. We got to take care of our land. We got to take care of our people of color. All those voices are important. But once they become corrupted by all this bullshit that happens, ultimately they either become corrupted or they fucking leave. And to be honest, I'm proud of people who can do it sometimes, because I couldn't. I would immediately leave. As soon as I saw all the hypocrisy in D.C., I'd be like, fuck this, and fuck all of you people. But some of them have hung in and actually make a difference. And people like Crenshaw get criticized a lot for trying to at least listen to what the other side has to say. Right. He's like, that whole thing with the fucking red flag laws. I understand why red flag laws are a bad idea, and so does he, by the way. If you would fucking listen to anything he fucking has to say, he agrees. But what do we do with that information? If we have information that points towards a potential solution to some kind of gun violence issue, what is our responsibility there? What does it become once we have that information to make something happen? And look, the solution may be, or I'm sorry, the discovery may be that, look, we have this information and we can probably use it to stop some of this shit, but by doing that, we create this much bigger problem that affects liberty at large, and we just can't do it. I'm sorry, that's an unfortunate reality. That is a legitimate thing to say, and it only happens when you go through the process in a way that is fucking intellectually fucking right. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen by just saying, no, fucking, it's thou shalt not infringe or whatever the fuck. It doesn't happen when you fucking come to the table like that. It only happens when you have a thoughtful discussion and allow for people to fucking, it's called red cell, right? The government, the military does it all the time. Anytime we have a plan, we're like, what could go wrong? What could be the fucking second and third order effects of this bullshit that we don't see right now? Are we making a bigger problem than we're solving? Is the answer, right? Or is the question rather. So we have blown so far beyond that, and it's only because of the media. The media is so full of shit.
Yeah.
Like it's I think it's almost irredeemable at this point.
So you've worked behind the scenes on some of these campaigns in different states before. What happens as a candidate gets elected? I guess let's talk about the media from the pre-process, right? When they're running for whatever office they're running for, and then once they win and achieve their goal and get in, how does media influence these candidates as they go along? Because I'm trying to figure out where everyone gets lost in this. Now, clearly, Trump is in there blowing it all to shreds, like with Twitter and everything else. There's fucking typos and all that other bullshit, right? Probably every other day there's a typo on something, Kofifi and all the other shit, right? But at least you know he's doing it himself, where it's just like, all right, is he on the toilet right now? Just typing in shit on Twitter? Yes, he is, but at least you know the information is real and it's coming from that person. What happens to the rest of these candidates as they're going along? We have some friends who are running right now, and I see some of their shit on social media, and it's just like, all right, I want to ask you about it because I'm trying to figure out how it gets so distorted.
I think the House is more susceptible than even the Senate. And, you know, it's a sliding scale because, look, to win at the statewide level costs more money, and to win at the national level costs more money. But at the local level for Congress, they run every 2 years. Mm-hmm. Every fucking person in Congress, the 438 people, they run every 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So you get maybe 3 sessions in Congress. If you include the fucking seasonal breaks and the holiday breaks and all that bullshit, you get 3 sessions to take shit back from your district to the federal level and try to get it done. And after about those 3 sessions, sometimes in the middle of the 3rd session, you have to be campaigning again. You have to be fundraising, you have to be out of the stump. And if you're out there campaigning, you're not doing your job. And it's a system that I think is fucked. I think it's stupid. The idea that you have to fucking run for that office every 2 years is crazy to me. And the fact that you can stay in that office for 50 fucking years, having to run like... Not only do we create a situation where running every 2 years requires that you depend on corporate sponsors, and you absolutely fucking do.
And the media, you know, it makes more sense now that you're saying it out loud. Like, you're right. Every 2 years, like, fuck, 2 years is the blink of an eye.
Yes.
For everything we do in life.
Even for the presidency, which is a 4-year term, there's this very old fucking maxim that you have 18 months to govern. And the rest of that time, you're either doing, you're fucking campaigning for re-election, or you're in a lame duck session. You have 18 months as a 4-year term. So what do you think you have as a 2-year term? It's even less than that.
Yeah.
So we've created a system that is completely inefficient. And not only is it inefficient, but it breeds things like corporate sponsorship. Profit motive in government is always a bad idea. Like, we should make decisions that are best for the most amount of people. That's what a democracy is supposed to do. It's not supposed to fucking make decisions based on timetables and corporate interests and stuff like that. Right? And it's not just the left or the right that does it. It's fucking everybody that does it. And it just depends on what you are. Oil and gas is typically on the right. Mm-hmm. Big pharmaceuticals typically on the left. Right? That's why when this landmark fucking bill came out, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare came out, it was nothing more than a fucking handout to private insurance companies that had no regulation at all about big pharmaceutical, which can charge you $27 for a fucking aspirin when you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
Right? 83% of every single bankruptcy case, private bankruptcy case in this country is because of unpaid medical expenses. 83%. If 83% of anything happened, we shut down the whole fucking country for a mortality rate in COVID of 0.35% in this country. But 83% of bankruptcies happen because of medical expenses, and we will do shit about health care except for have the liberals come around and present a bill that essentially tells people you can be as healthy as you can afford to be. Fuck you.
And then they'll go and hammer that point home in the press and say,
like, oh, we did it.
Yeah.
We did it, man. Hell yeah. You didn't do shit. As a matter of fact, when fucking push came to shove And believe what you want to about women's reproductive health and all that shit, but I personally am pro-choice. I don't really give a shit because it's not me. But 97% of Planned Parenthood's budget goes towards preventative care, which means like preventing cervical cancer and breast cancer. That is the vast majority of what they do for people who cannot afford to get it otherwise.
Right.
That's what they do for the most part. And we politicize that issue, right? And then as soon as, like I said, as soon as push came to shove for the Democrats, and I have a friend who actually left the Obama campaign in 2012 because of this. Because once they passed that shit and all this stuff went through the courts about who had to pay what kind of money for contraception and shit. Whenever they made that religious exemption, she was like, fucking done.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, just because you fucking disagree with it, these women can't get health care anymore? Fuck you. And it's like that on both sides of the aisle. And it's not about, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with being conservative or liberal. As a matter of fact, they're the yin and yang. Conservative is the father, and liberal is the mother. I've said this for fucking 10 years now. And I've written like an actual short story that outlines all this stuff about how the conservative is the like kind of quasi-emotional but hardworking dad, and the liberal is the fucking emotional mother. And those two things fucking work together. That's what yin and yang are. The concept of yin and yang is older than fucking Western civilization. And it is a real thing, and it happens, and we ignore it. We think that and we have convinced ourselves that we're in battle with each other when really we're one symbol, right? That is what it's supposed to fucking be. And it doesn't mean because somebody disagrees with you that they're somehow evil or wrong. It means that they're the other part of the equation, and we're trying to balance the equation. That is what it is. But we've lost that. And it's because there's more money in division.
Yes. In particular in the media, and in particular in fucking corporations too, where it's like, hey man, if we know we can sell to this segment of the audience, we'll make more money, or for public appearances, especially with the Black Lives Matter and everything else that's going on. Like, if you're a brand out there and you don't support it, you know, you're getting fucking hammered right now. Shit, if you're a brand out there and you support Trump, you're getting fucking hammered right now. I've never heard of Goya beans before at all. I'm not a big bean guy. Forgive me for everybody else who is, and my Latino brothers and sisters out there. But once the president of Goya came out and said, I support Trump and I think he's doing a great job with the country. Fuck Goya, dude. Fucking, we're all done with Goya. Blah, 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 blah. Now, the troll that they did on it with President Trump and Ivanka and all those people, I thought it was fucking hilarious. But the media made a big deal out of it of like, they care more about beans than they do about your lives and everything else.
That's the fucking thing though, right? Like, I was in... I follow people on Facebook, especially. Like, I hate Facebook, but I will follow people who are in my general periphery who I know have liberal beliefs, because I know that they will often post memes or whatever the fuck, or like, it's very like down your nose questions like, how can you even rationalize voting for Trump at this point? Like, all right, cool. Right. I'll fucking buy it on that, sure. Because look. It's not just about how can you rationalize voting for Trump. It's like, what option do I really have here? And I'm weighing the fucking cost of two options. That's what it really is. And if I'm looking at a pile of shit versus a pile of shit that's trying to backdoor socialism into this country, then obviously I'm going to make the decision that doesn't involve the socialism. I'm okay with shit. I'm used to shit.
Yeah.
This is America, brother. Like, our best and brightest don't run for office. Let's be real about that. Elon Musk is not running for office. No. Joe Rogan is not running for office. Fucking these people, they do what they do. They go out and make money, and even the only people you see that do it are people like Bloomberg, who have accomplished so much that they only need to accomplish something else. It's not about service to the community anymore. It's about them, and that's why I think personally that Kamala Harris is the dumbest pick for VP since Sarah Palin, which wasn't that long ago, to be frank.
2008.
They were
12 years ago.
They were in a bind then, and they wanted to get somebody to fucking dig them out of the hole. I get it.
That was the wrong choice.
It was a mistake. Steve Smith agrees that it was a mistake.
But to be fair, McCain at that point needed a Hail Mary. He wasn't winning anyways, in my opinion. It was one of those things in 2008 because
nobody was going to beat Obama there.
No. I was in LA during that period, and the excitement that he generated was the same excitement that I saw on the campaign rallies for Trump. And everybody will go back to 2016 and say
the same excitement that you're seeing for Trump now. By the way,
correct.
By the way, Nate Silver may want to add that into his little fucking metric. Because he's been wrong every time.
You can't measure that. No. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, man, you cannot measure the excitement for some person. I remember when Obama ran in 2012 against Mitt Romney. Mitt was so stiff and fucking boring that you just felt that he was going to lose. And like, there was no part of me that was holding any grand delusions that it was like, all right, great. Even I think I sat out that election. I don't think I even voted just because I couldn't get excited about either of those candidates, to be honest with you. And typically I vote all the time, but I could not get excited about it. And he was ineffective with the media on how to make himself more exciting. Ironically, after the fucking race was over and he lost, he had a documentary that came out on Netflix that was really it made him very self-depreciating and affable and everything else.
He is an affable
Why didn't you put that out before?
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with Romney, and it's the same problem that the left has. They are fundamentalists. They believe so much that what they think is true, and that everybody should, if they're moral human beings and smart human beings, should believe like they do. That they can't conceptualize the idea of somebody disagreeing with them, and that is not the right way to go about life. Like, if you can't be empathetic and put yourself in other people's shoes and understand where they're coming from, because it's not all about you. Ultimately, this is a country of 330 million people, and there's fucking Mexican immigrants that don't even speak English. There's fucking billionaires. There's fucking black people who have never known what fucking true upward mobility is. There's fucking white farmers who have had everything they've owned ripped away from them over the last 30 years. There's all these people with all these very complex lives that have, they're looking at America as a whole through the lens of their experience. That's what people do, right? They look at any situation through the lens of their own situation, experience, and understanding, and they make decisions based on that. We can fucking do this. We can do this. It's yin and yang, man. It's if you listen to the media, then you will always be wrong, because all they're going to sell you is fucking clickbait. They're only going to sell you shit that sells advertising for them, right? And what gets the most eyes? Somebody making a reasonable, impassioned plea, or somebody like Hitler, or somebody like Stalin, or somebody like Mao, right and left. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Whomever's at the fucking extreme is going to get the most attention because they do they say and do the most radical shit. Like this white kid that got shot in the head, right? I don't remember. I'd have to look his name up. But if you go, he was a young white child shot in the head by a black man. And by the way, that's not a monolith. Black people aren't out on the streets right now gunning for white children. That's not a thing that happens. Just like there aren't fucking police out on the street right now gunning for black people. Because if it was true, more than fucking 9 of them would get shot a year.
Cannon Hinton is the kid's name.
Yeah. If you go to MSNBC or CNN or New York Times or Washington Post, and you type in this young man's name, you will get 0 search results. Not one fucking story has been done about him.
The first story that popped up, by the way, so I'm looking at it now, is rmx.news. I don't even know what that is. I've never even heard of it.
No one's covering it.
Cannon Hinton, a 5-year-old white boy from North Carolina, was brutally murdered by a black male neighbor. He was shot in the head point blank while riding his bicycle in a case that has received almost 0 national media attention. Despite the dramatic death of the boy, many are pointing out that the race of the victim and the perpetrator may be a big factor of why major news outlets have ignored the story, which is why we decided to do this show today.
Right.
Because, yes, they are. Dude, I barely knew about this story. You came in today and we're talking about it, and I was like, man, I think I saw something in passing, but only, you know what it was? It was because I'm in subgroups on Drinkin Bros.
Yeah.
people who don't know, Drinkin Bros is got a private Facebook group. Anybody can join. The only rule is just don't be a cunt. But this story was being shared in there, and in the North Carolina group, and because there's subgroups for every single state and a lot of times cities. And I remember glossing by this, and I was like, this can't be true. Because I'm starting to be conditioned to that of like, oh, well, maybe, I don't know who this website is. Maybe that's a fake story or whatever. And it's like the more and more I dug, no, this is a real story. It's just not being reported on because it doesn't fit the time that we're going through right now.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know when it happened exactly, but we're on this path now where there is no news. There's just a flurry of information, and because of profit motive, obviously there's going to be clickbait shit, but there's also going to be misinformation from me. Like, look, if you're the New York Times or Washington Post right now, one of your only lines of defense is to make organizations like, even on the left with Axios, who's way far left, in my opinion. Yeah. Like they get categorized as center left sometimes, but they only cover left shit. Yeah. Axios on the left, Daily Wire on the right, right? Those are kind of analogs for me, at least.
Sure.
It only behooves you, if you're fucking CNN or Washington Post or New York Times, to fucking trash those organizations. Well, I mean, somebody said something. Here's the real story on fucking whatever, and that's how they'll title it, right? To make themselves seem like the authority. Look, you're not the authority, and you haven't been for a very long time. It's not only is it disingenuous, but it injures the American fucking social discourse, which I think is probably one of the more egregious actions against the American public by a major organization, whether it be the government or a business or anything else, in the 21st century. I think the fucking disillusion or the dilution of factual correspondence from the media over the last 20 years particularly has been super problematic, not only for our overall fucking understanding of the world, but also for our ability to make sound, reasonable judgments for the people who lead us. We can't make that anymore. Like, it's impossible, I think, at this point, for us to make a reasonable decision on who to elect, because we can't agree on what the fucking reality of the situation is. So how do you fucking do that? If you get a group of scientists in the room who are trying to study, I don't know, the fucking shape of the earth, and half of them don't believe it's fucking round,
right,
then that study's not going anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's where we are politically right now, and it's nonsense, because we can all agree that we can agree on a lot of stuff. We can agree that we need fucking a strong and well-balanced and educated and empathetic police force. Serve and fucking protect. That's what we need. If there's assholes out there, then defunding police is not going to help.
No.
When you fucking Walmart versus, or let's go Sam's Club versus Costco. Sam's Club makes, for every dollar Sam's Club makes off in revenue off of one employee, Costco makes $6 because they pay more, they hire better people. The end. So you think defunding fucking police is the solution? You think taking an organization that you feel like has a problematic approach to dealing with human beings because of their lack of education and training and screening, you think taking money away from education, training, and screening is going to solve that fucking problem? You are a stupid motherfucker, all right? You don't care about the problem. All you want to do is take some petty, punitive action towards police because you don't like them. That's it. It has nothing to do with a fucking solution. It only has to do with your fucking personal emotions and you fucking interjecting your bullshit. And primarily, by the way, we discussed this 2 weeks ago on the news, the vast majority of black people living in urban areas want the same amount or more police in their area.
Yeah,
we're talking about
81%.
81%.
Yeah.
That's right. It's white fucking people who think that because they see fucking perceived slights in the media, and it's the other part of that is like, oh, you're just a fucking denier, man. You're a denier. No, the fucking data is the data, bitch. 9 motherfuckers are dying a year from these fucking unarmed shootings that you're so fucking up in arms about out of 330 million people. And the vast majority of the black people who live in these communities want the same or more police. Mm-hmm. It is you. It is you skinny, white, stupid motherfuckers that are convinced that you know best for somebody else that is driving this whole fucking conversation, and it's absolute nonsense. And not only is it stupid, but it's harming people's actual lives. You are fucking, at best, amoral. if not evil, in believing that shit and pushing it, because you have no self-awareness. You can't fucking take yourself out of the situation, how you feel about it. Fuck your feelings. Feelings are not facts. Get yourself out of the fucking way and start having a real discussion with people who actually live these things. If you look on Instagram yesterday, I don't really like a lot of these guys that run the fucking super far right sites, but like the Typical Liberal had a video of it, of black people in Chicago walking up and down the street screaming at white protesters, essentially. Some of the protesters were black. They're like, hey, where the fuck were you guys when all these black kids got shot in the fucking face?
Right.
Do Black Lives Matter or do they not? And look, that's not something for me to say. That's something for them to say, but they said it, and I'm one to listen, right? I listen to that kind of stuff when people are so frustrated with how things are going on the street, and it reflects the idea that 81% of black Americans, particularly in urban areas, want the same amount or more police because they want to be safe. It's one of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We want to feel safe and secure. This isn't fucking new. We didn't just make this shit up recently like, oh no, it's a conservative idea that we need strong police. No, it's a fucking human idea, motherfucker. We've needed it for a long time, and finally we had it. Right? And then this narrative started that, oh, it's fucking abusive and all this stuff. And look, there's been cases of abuse. LA was bad in the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. It was super bad. There's a lot of racist bullshit going on there. And it's gone on in other places as well. That is a symptom of us not being vigilant as a culture. It is not a symptom of the intrinsic negative value of policing. Motherfucker.
Yeah, and I'm, as I'm reading all of this, and as it happens in city by city of the police getting defunded, LA, Austin, it just happened here in Austin, Texas. I love how we get here and 48 hours later, they rip away 1/3 of the police budget. 1/3 of the police budget.
That's all right. I'm upping my gun budget by 1/3. So
a lot of people are. Yeah. A lot of people are. And it's one of these things where, again, with the media, I have read not one single article saying, hey guys, here's why defunding the police is a bad idea. Mm-hmm. I can't find one fucking article in the media. And it's crazy to me. It's almost as if no one in the media has ever needed the police in their entire life for some reason. Like, wait till you actually need it. And then tell me we need to defund the police.
You know what? I'm going to read this. Officer Daniels, Justin Daniels, who a lot of you are familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Big social media following.
He is, yeah. He posted
Great
this.
Dude. He's been on the show before.
He posted this today, and it's an open letter from an Austin PD officer. Let me find it right quick. Keep talking, and I'll find it.
What I would love to see is more of these open letters published, but the media will turn these down. It seems like every day there's a hot take op-ed piece in all of these fucking papers between the New York Times or LA Times or New York Magazine, everything else. And it's like, hey man, here's my thoughts on this, the race and everything else that's going on. And it's bullshit. I've never seen a hot take on why it is completely immoral to fucking defund the police yet. Like, I haven't seen any. I haven't seen anything on CNN. I haven't seen anything on all these other fucking ABC News, NBC, Rachel Maddow, all these people on what is actually going to happen when you defund the police. We've seen it in LA in just a few weeks. What happened to that city.
It starts with homeless people everywhere.
Yes.
And look, I mean, that's an issue that nobody, this is not new. The homeless thing is not new.
No.
We've chosen as a society to not do anything about it.
Yes.
Frankly.
Yeah.
Let's be real about that. But it starts with that, and then it graduates to petty crime. Mm-hmm. And this is where broken windows theory comes in. It graduates to petty crime, and then it graduates to, oh, this is a soft area with little policing, and then organized crime starts coming in. This is how it works, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a natural progression. Here's the letter from a current Austin PD officer, and I have no idea who it is. I just know that we've been delivered this letter. He or she says, we have served with the best of our ability for many years. We have missed anniversaries, birthdays, funerals, sports, and many other things that we could be there for you, so that we could be there for you. When you called, we came. When you were victimized, we stepped in and stopped it. When you were on your last breath, we gave you another and another. As many as it took to keep you alive. We held your child and loved on them when they were scared. We comforted you when your loved ones passed. We put our lives in harm's way when the wolf came for you. When you ran from the gunfire, we ran towards it. When you sat trapped in your car, we held your hand until the rescue crew could cut you out. We bought you lunch when others walked by and did nothing. That's about the homeless thing, obviously. We brought justice to your family when someone was taken from you. We gave you a voice. When you had none, we stepped in. When you couldn't protect yourself, we saved your sons, daughters, husbands, aunts, brothers, and sisters. The day came when we needed your help, but you never showed. When we asked you to stand up and give us a voice, you remained silent. When we were at our lowest, hold on, sorry, got a glare. When we were at our lowest, you offered no help. When we were being attacked, you watched from afar. When the time came for you to fight for us, you stayed home and kept silent. And to those who didn't, thank you. The Austin Police Department has been almost completely defunded. By the way, 1/3 of their budget has been cut, including forensic science for rape kits and murder DNA, for mounted patrols, things like that. Gone.
911.
911 got cut by $17 million. There's barely enough to pay for our salary, medical care, and retirement. Now, when the wolf puts a bomb at your doorstep, we won't be there. When a drunk driver kills your family member, we won't be there. When your family member is drowning at the lake, we won't be there. When someone crashes into your car, we won't be there. When gangs take over your neighborhood, we won't be there. When you're assaulted on one of the many trails, we won't be there. When your child is lost, we won't be there to find them. We won't be there because your Austin City Council has shut down almost every unit needed to keep you safe and be there for you. They took everything from you while you sat in silence. They did it for their own personal gain and agenda, and they won't be there for you and made sure we couldn't either. Signed, your guardian and Austin police officer.
Man. Giorgio, mark the time code of that and put that up in there because I'd like to see that letter and put it up on the screen throughout. It's just, it's heartbreaking because it's true. And that's exactly what's going to happen. But the problem is people aren't going to know for a few more years. This isn't something that happens overnight, right? This will be gradual. Your city will turn to shit. It will be crime infested. There will be more homelessness and more lawlessness. And you're not going to know because right now, today, you made a fucking snap decision on defunding the police. And it's not going to catch up with you for a couple of years. You're not going to see your cities deteriorate overnight, but it's going to be pretty goddamn close. And the media says nothing about this. I didn't see this posted in the media today.
No, and it won't be.
No.
It won't be. That's why I'm glad a lot of these guys like Daniels and Mike the Cop and Hook 'em and Book 'em, Mike, well, I don't want to say his name, but No Donuts here. He's an NYPD cop. And a number of other guys are out there actually fucking, like they spent the time to learn what the regulations are and they fucking put the information out in a legal way. Right? I mean, Mike's retiring now. He's actually retired. Finally. Yes. Got out. Right.
And he took some heat from it too.
Yeah, he did. But, you know, I'm glad those guys are out there putting this shit out because without them, you know, we wouldn't know about some of this stuff. Like you don't understand the perspective of people that have really dedicated their lives to doing something positive for their community. Like that's a real thing that happens. And it's not just cops. There are community leaders. There are people who have fucking fought for women's rights, for fucking rights for people of color, for fucking for everything, for veterans. There's PACs there's fucking nonprofits out there that are fighting on behalf of veterans, for police, for everybody. There's people out there that are fucking literally they love this country so much that they feel like they have to do something. And they're trying to find it. And I appreciate that, you know. It's and to turn that around and fucking you don't see them as an individual. You see them as a I don't know, a fucking effigy of the organization they represent. Like, oh, he's a cop. Fuck cops. Right? He's a human being who has chosen to put their life on the line and very much complicate their personal life, because being a police officer and having a family is not an easy thing to do.
No.
Right? They've chosen to go down this path because they care about this country and they want it to be a great country. But you see them as a monolith. It's the same thing as thinking all black people are criminals. It's no different. It is no fucking different. And I don't understand how you can stomach that. Honestly, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got emotional reading that letter. Is it because you know the sacrifice and you went through that yourself? Or is it because you love this country and you know what's going to happen?
Well, look, I mean, there's a lot of us out there that have seen what real suffering looks like. Mm-hmm. You know, white children in Portland, Oregon, who are mad because whatever the fuck reason they're mad for, honestly, like things didn't go their way or whatever.
With the election.
Or anything. It's always nonsense. Like it's this whole fucking, it started in the fucking mid-90s with this like glorification of people like Che Guevara. He was a fucking murderer. He killed anybody that was gay in his camp, got murdered. By the way, you stupid motherfuckers that are walking around with his face on your shirt. And our buddy,
of tattoos as well.
Yeah, and our buddy fucking walked into the jungle and shot him in the face, by the way. I've always wanted to have him on the show, but he's like 80 now, and I don't know if he really wants to even have his name out there.
80 would be great. You know?
I mean, I think he's 82 or 83 now. I don't know if he really wants his name out there like that at this point, just because of his family shit. But he's a Latino dude that worked for the agency, and he shot fucking Che Guevara right in the fucking face out in the jungle. Anyways, the glorification of this piece of shit and just like moderate fundamentalism is one of the most dangerous things, because it kind of slowly introduces the idea of fundamentalism into stuff, and it creates a scenario where you have to choose between one extreme or the other. You know what I mean? So for people like me and tens of thousands, maybe even millions of others that have been in situations like that have seen true abject poverty and suffering, like real shit. People from my unit that went down to Haiti in 2010 after that earthquake, or people that have been to Iraq and Afghanistan and Africa, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, or Eastern Africa and Somalia and Eritrea, where it's been fucked for fucking hundreds of years. We know what suffering is, and this ain't it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This ain't it. It was such a pleasure and an honor to fight for a country that wasn't like that.
Right.
Like, it made you feel good about yourself to be able to fight for that. And then you come back here and it's like people are fucking pissed off because of what? Exactly. Look, there are slights. It's always going to be like that. Human beings are going to make mistakes. They're going to have prejudices and irrational fears and past history with family members and other people that are going to fucking contribute to them making mistakes in real time. That is not a reason to abandon what makes this country great. And that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And without cause or care, because everything that is printed by the media, they don't care. And they don't care what the cause is.
No, it's fire and forget.
What this is going to cause afterwards. Once these articles are out, once these opinions are out, these op-ed pieces are out, it's on to the next one, right? Because you've got to fill up these news cycles. They've got to try to make as much money as they can. Whether they are right or wrong, they don't give a shit about. And it's going to take somebody with deep pockets later on down the line to hold them accountable. But even then, everybody kind of forgets about the story. Yeah. And, we saw it today with the fucking FISA guy, the attorney for the FBI who
What's his name?
Forged those fucking emails in the Mueller probe. And it's like, man, again, not a lot of press on this, but it's like, hey man, so like, yeah, everybody was illegally wiretapped, right? Like that was a thing in 2016, but we're magically cool with that.
Yeah. I mean, look,
it's not on CNN or anywhere today.
What's the guy's name? Hang on. Not the guy being investigated, but hang on a second. You sent me a fucking link.
I did, yeah.
I'm not seeing it. Hang on.
Yeah, the guy, by the way, you have to basically search for it, because it feels like Twitter and Facebook and all this shit has just shut it down. Like any article that is negative about the left. They have essentially shut down at this point. And a lot of this shit is so fucking hard to find that you're like, all right, where is this?
It's John Durham is the guy doing the probe.
Correct.
And he's so Attorney General Barr was on several news outlets yesterday talking about it and how, because people are asking like, hey, it's election cycle. This is the time of year when fucking news against the other, particularly legal news against the other side comes out. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to reassure people that we're going to do things right, but we're also not going to hold up evidence just because of the election. Look, I don't trust Attorney General Barr any farther than I can throw this goddamn building across that fucking Colorado River right there, frankly, because he's got a history of using illegal wiretaps against American citizens. Fuck him. But information is information. And what is the fucking fiduciary, for lack of a better phrase? I know that's not right, but for the fiduciary responsibility of the Attorney General and the President to either sit on information that makes the other side look bad, that's legal, or not use it. Because we know what the Obama administration did. They made shit up. Mm-hmm. They went out of their way to weaponize the CIA, which isn't even supposed to be conducting operations domestically, first of all. He weaponized the CIA domestically to try to fucking disrupt the Trump administration after it began. Not during the fucking election part, but after it began. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the lame duck session between November and January, he tried to fuck over Trump for the next 4 years, which means he tried to fuck over America for the next 4 years. So I don't trust any of these motherfuckers, frankly. And I think they're going to do whatever they can to try to push their own agenda. Look, you don't have to trust people. You can trust people to be themselves, right? If I go into a sandwich shop, I'm not expecting a great steak. I expect a great sandwich. And it's irrational to expect a great steak.
Yeah.
So it's irrational to go into the government and think about the government, whether right or left, and expect them to act in an honorable or honest way, in my opinion. And I don't expect them to do that. Now, if we as a country, as a people, are able to set left and right guidelines for them to stay within, I feel like it's manageable, and that's what we've done so far. But now it's becoming unmanageable because there's so much power, not necessarily in the executive office, but if somebody's able to become a congressman and a senator and stay in federal government for 45 years, they build immense power, almost undefeatable power. Biden might not win the election, but he will still have immeasurable power when it comes to American politics. Even after he loses in November, he will still have immeasurable power and the ability to put people together or read the fucking tea leaves and make little moves because he understands how government works, and he has fucking people who owe him favors, right? That should be impossible in this country. Service was meant, by the way, George Washington didn't have to leave after his second term. He chose to leave. He could have, there's actually a famous quote from John Adams' wife, who is John Adams was an attorney, right? Harvard-educated attorney. He became the second president of the United States. His wife was one of his closest confidants, a brilliant woman. And there's a quote from her, and I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something to the effect of, that man could have ruled until he died, and he chose not to.
Right. I have to look, FDR came back. It is possible.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if Trump wins and he says, I think things are going well. Let's go for a third term. What do you think? People would fucking riot.
I honestly don't think there should be term limits for president.
I don't either.
I think there should be term limits for Senate and Congress. I don't understand it for president. If you
want to do it that bad, like, because to me, it's the most miserable job in the world.
There's no other fucking organization on earth where if the CEO is doing well, but his time's up, he leaves.
Yeah.
That's not like how you usually do things. But keeping the fucking mid-level managers turning over, that's an important part of any business.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense the way we run things, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. What are you going to do? We get some sponsors who pay for this whole shit wagon to be on the air. First and foremost, ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. 30% off, 30, if you were a member of the military, first responder, or I don't know why I'm talking like that. I thought I'd spice it up a little bit, you know. Just really going on, just kind of talking about who's getting all the deals from Ghostbed. Look, if you're a member of the military, a first responder, or you work in the government, or you're a teacher, you get 30% off everything in the entire store. That is sheets, pillows, adjustable bases, all of it. You can bundle it all together. You can get 90 pillows if you want and take 30% off. Just do it all at once. If you're a dumb civilian like myself, you get 25% off. If you order a mattress, you get 2 free pillows right now, and the pillows are just as good as the mattress. I can promise you that. Go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros today, where, as always, they have a 36-month pay-as-you-go program, no interest, at ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. So all of the deals that I just mentioned, you can just go on there, bundle them together. And congratulations. You're getting those for 36 months. No interest on all of that shit.
Are you okay?
I am.
You sound like you might be having some problems.
We had an Amber Alert off screen that freaked everybody out.
They have silver alerts now, by the way.
What's that?
For old people. No, I'm not kidding. It's an Amber Alert, but for like lost elderly people.
No lie, by the way, we just had an Amber Alert go off here. When these fucking things hit, it is intense, isn't it? Like, it is very distracting.
I'm glad that it exists.
Same.
Because
but it rings all throughout the.
Usually cases like this get solved within the first 48 hours, and people like an Amber Alert will flash and they'll have like a license plate number, and then everybody spends the next 2 days looking for that license plate.
Yeah.
It's a perfect system. It works great.
It is, but it scares the shit out of you. So if you're listening at home or watching, you're like, did Ross did he stroke out live on air? Close. There was an Amber Alert that freaked the shit out of me. It's just a blaring horn that comes in off your phones. The other part about it is, how does my phone know where I'm at? Dan, that scares the shit out of me.
Well, look, man, they're collecting all your data. Come on. Let's not.
We just moved to Texas 48 hours later, and I'm getting Amber Alerts from Texas already, where it's just like, hey, man.
Everybody's worried about a potential coronavirus vaccine having some kind of locator chip in it. Like, you're carrying one around in your... Look, there's reasons to be suspicious about a coronavirus vaccine. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But having a fucking chip implanted in you is not one of them.
No.
Because you're carrying that bitch around 24 hours a day already.
They know
Just
where
relax,
you are
guys.
already. That Amber Alert is proof positive of it, where it was like, shit, how do they know that I live here and not North Carolina anymore? Next up, liquidiv.com, D'Anthony.
We're going to have the CEO on soon to discuss the cellular transport technology.
Look, man, I've been a huge fan of this. This was one of the ones that I reached out for.
You're a fan of it because it works.
Yes.
I'm a fan of it because I understand how it works. Right? And that's the difference between you and I. Like, you'll just accept things, and I'm like, let me make sure it's actually... But it's...
I'll accept my feelings. So Nick, my neighbor, was the one. We went on a bender for like a parents' night out type of deal. And when we woke up in the morning, I was like, man, I have not been this hungover in a while. And he goes, dude, have you had this liquid IV? Mm-hmm. So I put it in my drink, and I was like, holy shit. Because I guess you can get it at like Costco and all that other stuff.
CVS, Costco, a number of places, yeah.
So I reached out to him. Yeah.
Walgreens,
I reached out to our advertisers and said, hey, man, can you get liquid IV on the show? This shit's the fucking best. It rehydrates you. If you put it in like 16 ounces of water, it's one of those pouches, and you just pour the powder in, you're good to go, right? But it rehydrates you like that. And I was like, oh, fuck, I feel great. And then I got hooked on it, so much so, in fact, that I was like, all right, well, now I want a promo code for this because I don't want to pay full price.
Right.
And luckily, they came on board. So if you go to liquidiv.com, you get 25% off with the promo code Drinkin Bros on there. And my first order of business, the day that we signed that deal, I went on their fucking website, used their promo code, and then had it sent to my house.
Is that code live? Because I just tried to buy all of your stuff with it.
Dead serious.
They're like, hold on.
They were like, we'll give it to you. And I was like,
like,
I buy my own stuff. And I had like 8 bags shipped to the house. And they were like, Jesus Christ, you really do drink this? And I was like, yeah, dude, I drink it every day.
It's another one of those products like Killcliff that we know works.
Yeah, well, I got caught by Killcliff using my own promo code.
Yeah, well.
When we moved, the address changed on the credit card, and they sent me a thing. They were like, hey, man, that credit card, whatever, didn't go through. I was like, I switched my address. When I gave him the proper address, the guy wrote back, and he goes, hey, man, like, we're a sponsor on the show. We'll just get, and I was like,
Ryan Robinson's always like, we'll just send you stuff. I'm like, you can send us stuff for the studio, but let us buy our home stuff.
Yeah, dude. Otherwise,
it's still a great discount. Like, who cares?
It's an amazing discount. Otherwise, you'd be sending me fucking cases of this shit all the time. And it's like, dude, I'll buy it. I will bankrupt you asking for free shit.
But Liquid IV works because the chemical compound inside of it, it's a combination of electrolytes and a number of other things that reshape water molecules to make them more absorbable into your body.
Yeah.
That's all it does. It's like basic science. And it took us fucking forever to figure this shit out. And I have no idea why it took so long to figure it out. But the CTT that they promote, the cellular transport technology, all it is like a way. It's a very simple way for your fucking bloodstream to absorb water more, like at a higher yield. So instead of having to drink a gallon of water a day, which a lot of these new fitness fads or diets need, the reason you need that much water is because your body only absorbs so much of it. But if you can make your body absorb more, you can drink less water, which takes you less time out of your day.
Yeah, dude.
Less resources, all that stuff.
That's why I do it.
Yeah.
I drink one in the morning and I'm good to go. Fuck it. Go to liquidiv.com, promo code Drinkin Bros, 25% off. And it'll get there quick. Try it, man. I've been using it for 2 years, I think, at this point, and they've only been a sponsor just recently, literally because we reached out. What else? What else? What's the last one on today's dockets?
Well, technically, we've got a couple more, but we can.
Yeah, who are they?
Well, Killcliff's one of them, but we already talked about that.
Killcliffcbd.com, promo code Drinkin Bros. We'll get you 20% off and free shipping there. 3 amazing flavors. I'm a grape guy. We're watching the UFC fight tomorrow night. We usually tape the Monday shows on a Friday. Watching the UFC fight tomorrow night. I had that case they were already shipped into my house. Yeah. Because I know that I'm going to get wet with some vodka from killcliffcbd.com. Mango, orange kush, and grape. There is no THC in this, so you will not piss hot if you're taking a drug test out there for whatever your job is. It's funny, 25 milligrams in every single can.
Araceli, our new
CBD.
Director of Marketing and Sales, by the way, which is a big step for us.
Yeah.
Actually, we were on the phone this morning talking about business stuff, and she was like, tell me what CBD is and what THC is and what the difference is. It was a very interesting conversation because I feel like a lot of people don't know.
No.
She goes, wait, so...
Am I going to get high off of this? That's what we get all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And am I going to piss hot for this?
Yeah.
No, you will not.
No.
In America, so we have a new sponsor coming on that does, it's called Feels. Well, you'll hear more about them next week, but they do more like a different type of ingestion of CBD, right? Because we feel like it's a really important product.
Edibles, yeah.
It's stuff that you consume, instead of drinking. It's not an RT. It's not a ready to drink, as it were. But anyways... She's like, so one gets you high and the other one doesn't? No, nothing gets you high.
Yeah.
And actually, I come to find out by asking questions that it seems like they get their source material from the same place. So they're both very good. To legally sell CBD oil in America, you have to start with a plant that has the amount, like either the amount or less than the amount of THC that you can even piss hot for the whole plant. So there's no chance you'll ever piss hot with this stuff.
Right.
Ever. Don't go buy CBD from some fucking rickety bullshit place because there's gonna be weird shit in it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's been going on. It's been going on with even in the THC market with vape oils. There have been weird shit in them if you don't buy them from reputable dealers. And CBD is even worse because there was no regulation for a long time and people were just making it. Go to a trusted source like KillcliffCBD.com,
dude. Big fan of those guys. And again, man, that's our fucking summer drink. It's our white boy summer drink.
Yeah. Sad boy fall too.
Yeah. The
last one's ExpressVPN, by the way.
ExpressVPN.com/Drinkin Bros. Now this will protect all your shit. The only phone that didn't go off for the Amber Alert was Dan's phone in his room. You got expressvpn.com/Drinkin Bros on the phone.
On all my devices.
All of your devices. You're locked in. I have not put it on my phone yet. That is the only thing that I don't have it on. I've got it on everything else.
I've got 2 iPads. I have 2 laptops, and I've got a phone, and all of them have ExpressVPN on it.
Yes. My phone is the only one that does not have it yet. You were the only one during the Amber Alert was like, I don't understand why my phone's freaking out. Because all your shit's on lock. It's the last thing I have to do. Look, if you're out there right now, especially the times when people are trying to steal money from you, you're out of your Netflix queues and all that other stuff, this seamless app that runs in the background of all your electronic devices will help you fucking beat all of it. Go to expressvpn.com/Drinkin Bros today. $7 a month. It'll protect your passwords for all your accounts. It'll help you get into Netflix in other countries. And it'll help you watch porn at work.
And also,
because there is a firewall at a lot of people's work for that.
How many times have you bought things, like done online shopping from your phone?
Millions.
Computer.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You just like hold your phone up to your face, double click that right button.
Yep.
And buy stuff, and you're like, you have no idea. Your money just went out into the ether somewhere. Make sure you're protected.
That's it. Go to expressvpn.com/Drinkin Bros today. $7 a month. If you sign up for a year, you get 3 months free. Dan, where does the media go from here? Does it change after this election's over? Because hypothetical, let's say Biden gets in there, right? You're not going to be able to rely on Trump every single day if you're the media. A lot of these places are going out of business already. The latest one is this New York Daily News. For New Yorkers, whoever's lived there, there's 3 papers, the Times, the Post, and the Daily News. That one is gone. New York Times, look, I know Trump says it all the time about the failing New York Times. It really is true. The only thing that is saving them right now is podcasts. In particular, the Daily. That's one of their huge hits that is bringing in a lot of advertising dollars for those guys now. What happens, and does this ever get corrected, or is it too far gone? Are we too far gone in the media that all of these stories will forever be slanted to whatever your viewpoint is?
Yeah, I think it's probably too far gone, to be honest. I don't see how it could. I don't see what the path to coming back to the old school version of news. And look, a lot of people say, like a lot of people bring up Walter Cronkite, for example, and say he was the last trusted news source or whatever the fuck. Walter Cronkite took very hard stances against Vietnam and is largely credited for public opinion leading to the Vietnam War being shut down, right? Now, that is, in my opinion, a bifurcated example. It's a good example of how somebody can use their influence to make good things happen, because we should never have been there in the first place. But it's also an example of not understanding who you are. Like, in my opinion, 65,000 Americans died in Vietnam. That's a lot of people. And several million of Vietnamese people died, right? That's a lot of people. There isn't, unless it's everybody, in my opinion, or a much larger number than just that. There's 7 billion, almost 8 billion people on this planet now. Liberty is the most important thing. It's more important than your life, and it's more important than my life. That's why me and millions of other people, whether through military service or police or whatever the fuck else it was, decided in our heads, like, this idea of liberty in America is more important than my life. And we put our lives literally on the line to defend it. I think that he made a tragic mistake, and everything since then has been politicized. People saw that Walter Cronkite, as a single individual in America, was able to turn the tide of the Vietnam War and bring American troops home. They saw that he used that strategy in a successful way against the entire fucking government. This one man on television. And now that's what news media thinks it is. That's what Anderson Cooper thinks he is. He thinks he's a warrior. He is not. By the way, he is not a warrior. He is a person that is supposed to be reporting the facts to me. Don't tell me that a brutal dictator was killed. Tell me that a dictator was killed, and I'll fucking decide if he was brutal or not. All right? That is the end of that fucking conversation. It is not your responsibility. And look, while it may be in the fucking grand scheme of things, or I'm sorry, in the moment rather, it may be the right thing to do to use your voice to affect change at that level. Understand that there are things going on other than you. All right? If you can do something like, hey, if somebody's getting beat up over there and I'm protecting these 10 people right now and I leave to go stop that person from getting beat up and these 10 people get killed because of it, then I fucked up. Yes, I did a fucking 100%. What I did was a moral thing to do. I went to stop somebody from being beaten up and being injured. But in doing so, I abdicated my fucking responsibility over here. I fucking left my responsibility to protect the American people. And that is what journalism is supposed to do. It's supposed to inform and protect the American people. And they have failed miserably at that. And they're going to continue to do so. There's no coming back from that. People don't trust the media anymore.
No, and everybody views themselves as a Walter Cronkite. That every story that they either report on or publish, that is their moment to stand up for America and Americans by putting their own slants on whatever story it is. A lot of it happens to be against the president in politics right now, but That's the reason that I don't think this is going to change, and I think it's only going to get worse. The thing that will happen, though, if Biden magically gets in somehow, is the interest for all this clickbaity shit will be gone. You have a guy that is hidden. He doesn't make a lot of statements. He doesn't speak now. He's going to try to limit himself on gaffes and everything else. The only way to do that is to stay hidden and stay out of public view, and that's not going to be interesting enough to report on. If the left gets in with all of the shit that's happened, protests and white privilege and everything else that's you want to bitch about in America, defunding police, congratulations. Your party will be in all of the things that you've bitched about and protested about and rallied against for the last 4 years. Now what? What happens in Portland? Do they just fucking go home?
Here's the problem with winning. Because in politics especially, once you win, you've got to govern. And we discovered this as on a global level in the mid-2000s, right? So Hamas, the Palestinian organization that is classified partially, the militant wing is a terrorist organization and the fucking political wing is not. Hamas won the 2006 elections in Palestine. They became the fucking leaders of Palestine. And what happened in Palestine? They fucking lost it. All they did was ride a populist movement into power, but they had no plan to govern. It got completely fucked. Terrorism became out of control because, look, terrorism is simply another form of crime. That's all it is. That's not to fucking say it's not horrible and the results are horrible and the fact that people can do that is immoral, but it is simply another form of crime. People that are impoverished and feel slighted and oppressed are going to act out. The end. It's happened throughout human history and it will continue to happen. Terrorism is not something you could fight. It's something you solve with money and education. It's what fucking Charlie Wilson tried to do from Texas, by the way. Oh. From down in Nacogdoches. He tried his best. He fought the fucking Cold War better than any human being in America ever fought it. He is the reason the goddamn Iron Curtain fell. And all he did afterwards was go back to the Congress and Senate and ask for some money to educate people in Kabul. That's all he wanted. Let's go back to this place that we just destabilized. Make sure they know we did it. We're the ones that did it. We didn't care that you're Muslim.
Right.
We knew that you were human beings. And because of that, we wanted to help you. And instead of doing that, the American public was like, nah, fuck them.
Yeah.
Taliban. Immediately happened. Like, you fucking kidding me? And we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
We're going to do it again and again and again because people are fucking stupid. And that's just the way it is. So I don't think there's any coming back from that stuff. Honestly, I don't think there is because...
I don't either, man.
At this point in mass, with 330 million people in our population, like what's... People don't... we can't agree on what reality is. I think that reasonable people should be able to agree that the concept, and this is a left concept actually, the concept that people can be as healthy as they can afford to be in a country like ours that is so prosperous, that is immoral. Like to look at a poor person and say, well, you just can't be as healthy as I can because you're poor. To me, that's immoral. Yeah. I don't give a fuck what your beliefs are on private versus public healthcare, any of that shit. Those are all red herrings. The fact is we have to provide healthcare for our fucking people. We have to provide education. We have to provide upward mobility. I want, if anybody's going to, we don't have to be in a system where there are winners and losers. Like what Jordan Peterson talks about all the time is equality doesn't mean equality of outcome. It means equality of opportunity, right? That's a big fucking difference. And it seems subtle, but it's a big difference. Everybody's got to have the same opportunity to get things, and right now they don't. Because if you get charged, like I said before, 83% of all bankruptcies in this country are because of medical expenses. Mm-hmm. That means poor people are completely excluded from good health care. That is just a fact. So what are we doing to address that? Fuck all the politics. Fuck private health care. Fuck big pharmaceutical. Fuck the Affordable Care Act. Fuck all this bullshit. What are we doing to solve that goddamn problem right there? Like, is it okay with you as a human being to know that there are poor people like single mothers in inner cities or in rural areas or whatever the fuck it is that can't get access to good health care because of their economic status. Is that okay with you? Because it's not okay with me.
Yeah, it's not okay with me, but and it's also one of these things that if you're the media and you're gonna focus or spotlight stories, focus on stories or spotlight them, why not go after these stories? Like, who gives a fuck about what the president tweeted? You know,
because it's clickbait. That's all.
Like and nobody's going to click on these stories.
It's the same thing with kneeling for the flag. Look, all these people, particularly in ESPN lately, like, we all knew the whole time that it wasn't about the flag or it wasn't about the anthem or the troops or nothing. It maybe not for you, motherfucker. It's called empathy.
Right.
Put yourself in other people's shoes. People are deeply offended by that. So everyone knows the point of protest, by the way, in a social or cultural insurgency, however you want to frame it, is to gain awareness. Awareness, then patronage, and then an implicit act. Like, you gain awareness. People know about your problem. You gain patronage. Everybody's pretty much like, oh, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's do this. George Floyd, by the way. Mm-hmm. Let's do this. That's where we were. The next step is like, what do we do to effectively take these ideas and solve these problems? That's the next step. And we didn't do that. We kept protesting. We kept kneeling. We kept fucking having riots. And now nobody gives a shit. Nothing will happen. This is on the left. Yeah. It is on the left. I hate to say that in some ways because I don't want to alienate people that have fought really hard to push a lot of these issues forward, but you fucked it up badly. Like, everybody was on board and you fucked it up. And then you're the fucking blame for it. The reason that Trump got elected in the first place is because the Democratic Party refused to take the temperature of the room and said, hey, we're going to nominate this woman that was anti-marriage equality, that attacked women who her husbands sexually assaulted, who voted for Iraq, who voted for the Patriot Act, who did all this bullshit. She was against everything they believed in, but she's a woman, right? Like, that fucking singular focus on one issue like that, the fucking tunnel vision on, and it's fundamentalism is what it is. Liberalism in the country today is essentially the new version of religious fundamentalism. The cancel culture, all of it. Like, you don't see, I hate to quote Yoda, but only the Sith deal in absolutes, right? Real life is nuanced, right? Just because I feel a certain way, or me and my fucking vast majority of people feel a certain way, white people are like 83 or 80 something % of the country. Yeah. If you include like white Latinos or white Hispanics or whatever the fuck. Just because we feel a certain way doesn't mean we don't have a moral obligation to take care of everybody else, right? E pluribus unum, out of many, one. It's real goddamn simple, but we can't fucking grasp it. And I don't know why. I honestly, because personally, I don't have a problem with it. Whenever I do something so like, hey, here's how I feel about that, I'm like, oh, cool. All right. Like, it's just a comment.
And I'll always listen.
It's not a judgment.
Nobody wants to listen either. Like, I'll always listen to people where it's like, all right, why do you hate so-and-so? Why do you hate this or whatever? Just to hear their true ideas and opinions versus, well, I don't know, the media said this, right? Well, that's great. I don't care what the media thinks. Well, I care about what you think as a person. And then typically you sit down with fucking 99% of people, and people are pretty passionate and, you know, about what they believe in, but they'll explain it to you in a thoughtful manner, but nobody's taking the time to do that. And the media certainly doesn't fucking care. I'm going to read
you some of the comments that I got from this conversation I had on Facebook with some relatively liberal people yesterday.
By the way, I before you do that, I do the same thing as you do. So like, I didn't unfriend anybody because of their political beliefs or anything else. The opposite, actually. I want to hear what other people are thinking. If I only limited myself to people who thought like me, it would be fucked, and I don't think I could get a well-informed opinion from everyone. So I do the same thing, by the way.
So I make this comment about how both of these candidates aren't really great, but at least one of them is not socialist. And here's a comment. We keep giving billions and billions to Wall Street and big companies for bailouts. Why is that possible? Besides, it's not like they can just enact this shit on their own, meaning Biden and Harris. Checks and balances, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's I don't like corporate welfare. Why are you putting me in a position where you think that I'm going to fucking defend that? Like, that's the binary political bullshit. Like, you think because I said that I don't like the fact that Kamala Harris, the now presumptive VP nominee for the Democratic Party, because the convention hasn't happened yet, but it's coming soon,
right,
was a co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, which has federalized banking. That is the first step to socialism, motherfucker. If it's history, you can read this any goddamn country that's ever had socialism. This is how it starts. Federalized banking, and then you take over the fucking means of production next. That's how it fucking works.
And why is that in the Green New Deal is what I don't understand.
Who the fuck knows, dude? Who the fuck knows?
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense to me. And here are some of the other comments. Let's see. Let's see. How do y'all end up with these Neanderthals as followers? Right? Because I'm clearly not a smart guy.
What is this on, by the way?
It's on Facebook.
On our page or your page?
It's not on either. It's on some girl's page.
That's funny.
That I know. Why bother with these Chads? And if there's anybody that is as far removed from a Chad on Earth than me, then I would love to meet him. Because I'm pretty far removed from a Chad. Let's see. What's this next one? There's one really funny one.
A Kyle, maybe.
This guy says, LOL, read books, you Chad.
Yeah. A Kyle.
That was the responses that I got to what you would expect from me, which is like thoughtful and well-articulated and evidence-based arguments.
Right.
That's what you get from the left these days. Because, look, the left has been put into, and when I say the left, I mean people on the left have now been put into a position where they have to defend people that they are they're completely opposed to. The same thing with Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. Like, nothing she's done administratively in her public life from the mid-90s until present has matched up with the progressive mindset. And the same thing with Harris and the same thing with Biden. Biden wrote the goddamn crime bill.
Yeah. And
Harris enforced it in the largest state in the country.
Yeah. Look, to me, it's easy. The left owns the media. They'll never report on any of this shit. And me personally, like, I've started to go more and more into podcasts. I will say this. There was an article this morning that talked about the rise of QAnon and that this is their year. The problem with the media and all this shit, when you're not reporting the facts and you're slanting it so far to the left, is you start looking for conspiracies that aren't there. I'm not a tinfoil hat guy. I never have been. But I find myself watching today's media, mainstream, ABC, NBC, all this stuff, not the syndicated news shows like Fox News and CNN and stuff. I already know they're going far right or left. You would hope the big four networks don't, but they are. And it's looking for it. And you're like, man, I find myself picking apart these articles and looking for conspiracies that may or may not be there just because I'm so paranoid about what I'm reading or what is being forced to me in the media. Me personally, I've gone more and more into podcasts, just listening to podcasts to try to find my news or find people who have different beliefs than what is being jammed down. I would say the throats of the corporations, because let's face it, the fucking NBC is a corporation that is owned by, I mean, fuck, even Bezos owns goddamn Washington Post. Like, yeah. You're being fed a narrative that's being jammed down your throat by all of these people that are in power that want you to believe in the same things that they believe in. Therefore, me personally, I'm going more and more towards podcasts to try to find voices that are original and unique and maybe have a different perspective on things that aren't on your TV screen every night at 6:30 p.m.
You know who owns the New York Times, by the way, right? Mm-mm. Like Carlos Slim, the
does he really?
Latin American telecommunications guy. Yeah, billionaire. He was for a very long time the richest man in the world.
Yeah. Bezos owns Washington Post. Yeah. If you're out there, I'm surprised Musk hasn't bought something to.
He's not that guy.
To write it up. No, he's not.
He's not that guy. I feel like Elon Musk would be the same guy if he was rich or poor, to be honest.
Yeah.
And he's the kind of, and honestly, I feel like Bloomberg's that same guy. I like Bloomberg. I didn't like in New York when he did the fucking soda tax and bullshit like that. I thought that was stupid. Like, it's just ineffectual. People, I know why he did it. He did it because the seatbelt fines made a big difference in making people wear seatbelts.
Right.
And raising taxes on cigarettes made people stop smoking. Got it.
Yeah.
Those two things definitely worked. But you can't do that when it comes to like everyday consumables. You just can't, man. There's a limit where you go, and people fucking hated on for that, and with good reason. I agree with them on that. But the way he handled the criminal justice system in New York, fucking phenomenal. He continued Giuliani's success, and under his fucking rule, whatever you want to call it, New York was pretty dope.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fucking relatively safe and fun place to hang out.
Yeah.
And now it's not. It's bullshit now. And people are fucking leaving in droves because of it. Bloomberg owns the Bloomberg News.
Bloomberg,
right?
yeah. He owns Bloomberg.
So it's like, I don't know. I just don't see, I don't think Elon Musk would ever even care about that. I honestly don't think he gives two fucks what you think about
No, you're probably right. It's probably me being hopeful. And by the way, I know
what would it even be?
A lot of this show, we've talked about negative shit. I am hopeful. I just don't know where it's going to come from and why or who's going to change it. But
it's going to come from the people. Eventually.
It will. I just wonder what that's going to be. Like something will be created eventually. We always bitch about these apps and not being public utilities and everything else. Look, the latest today was Fortnite being ripped off of Apple.
But they had planned that for a while. They've been planning that for 6 months now. They told Apple and Google Play that they were going to pull their app off those mobile platforms if they didn't stop charging these like 30%.
30%. I did not know that was the number.
Like even
Jesus Christ.
Even Amazon doesn't charge that much.
No.
When you put products on their site, and they do everything for you. All fucking the Google Play Store is doing is offering a fucking a waypoint for your
platform to put it up.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Like Amazon actually does stuff to help you market and sell and ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're actually doing something for you.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't get it. I do get it though, because they feel like they have a monopoly and you don't have anywhere else to go.
Well, they do have a monopoly.
And look,
yeah.
If a company that makes as much money as whomever, who owns Fortnite? Giorgio, do you know who owns them? Epic Games.
Epic Games, yeah.
Epic Games owns Fortnite. If a company that big that's making that much money says that shit, like, hey, you're fucking up a little bit. You may want to dial it back a bit.
Yeah.
And the two major companies, the two only companies that provide widespread free downloads of software on mobile devices say no. They absolutely colluded together.
Yeah.
There's no chance they didn't.
100%.
And good for fucking Epic Games. Fuck those guys.
Yeah. I agree, man. And, the same thing happened with Rogan and YouTube. Mm-hmm. He was tired of his videos being demonetized or saying what was, fucking bad language, obviously, which we use a lot on here, and otherwise are harmful. Look, you can read the laundry list of YouTube's policies. And he switched over to Spotify, but it took somebody like Spotify to come along and say, all right, great. We're going to do this. And you can have whatever guests on you want, and we're not going to penalize you for it.
I guess we're waiting for whomever the center-right or even just apolitical version of George Soros is. Somebody who's reached that level where they don't give a fuck anymore. They have all the money they could ever need, and they don't need validation. They just want to make the world a better place. That person, to me, and it may be Elon Musk at some point, that would be a superhero that far surpasses any that we've ever imagined in comic books or movies.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody that came along that said, you know what? I don't give a fuck about the goddamn profit or motive or any of that bullshit. I don't care about myself or my own company. I care about the truth. A billionaire that was able to do that, I would fucking follow to the gates of hell, to be honest, because it's so important to have that information and be able to make good, educated, wise decisions based on that information. And certainly right now we can't.
And especially during this time period. But we've always said that about our listeners. Like, dude, if you're a billionaire out there, just reach out, give us 10 million. We'll make all these fucking weird movies. The shit that you can't see anymore, we'll make. We don't give a fuck. Now's the point in the show where we get to the Drinkin Bro of the week. This one was submitted by Amy Stortini. Like that name, from New Jersey. She's a new Drinkin Bro, she says, and she's nominating Steven Lenker. Reason for nomination, she says, my boyfriend is a police officer and loves you guys. He's watched all your videos and now has got me into it. You guys are hilarious and make him laugh every single day. Also tried to surprise him with the Pork of the Ocean shirt, and it was sold out in a large. Stay safe, my friends. Cheers. Thank you, Amy. And cheers. Cheers to your boyfriend, Steven.
It's Pork of the Sea, by the way.
Pork of the Sea.
We'll bring that one back.
We'll bring it back. We're going to bring back a lot of merch to the store, to drinkinbros.com store.
I'm going tomorrow afternoon. Me and Jared are going to look at a place that's going to start manufacturing a lot of our stuff. So... there'll
be a bunch of stuff back in the store. There's still a bunch of stuff in the store now. I know we don't plug it that much, but go to drinkinbros.com. You can get some Buttersoft teas for $20. They're like $19.99. We kept it affordable for everybody, and we greatly appreciate it. Go to iTunes and rate the show a 5-star and write a quick review. That'll help scoot us on up the charts. D'Anthony, I thought it was important to do this show today, man, because I just don't know where to go from here. And I know I sound like a downer on the last episode, but I really believe it's a fucking serious problem. And I don't know what's going to happen with the media, but hopefully we bring a little levity to your day. And we've become our own media, I feel like. So we'll see. Maybe it's us that do it and we create the news. Maybe. We'll find out. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin Bros. Good night, everyone.